You won the Google Coding contest at 17 and then moved abroad to study.
I was an 18-year-old, I was just happy to see the first money coming in.
You founded a software agency, WebCube, that helped 20 plus startups raise funding.
That's a good question, man.
What challenges you?
I was top open source developers in the world.
How did that happen?
There still are many sleepless nights.
Bro, that hit different because... Hello guys, today we have Vansh Sood, a LinkedIn connection and co-founder of Bean.
Yes, sir.
How are you, brother?
Enjoying Vancouver so far. It's been fun. A couple of weeks.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you told me you're from Halifax originally.
Yes, I'm doing my computer science at Dalhousie University in Halifax, and I'm just visiting Vancouver. Well, I was coming here for Web Summit at the end of the month, and I figured why not just come a few weeks ahead, network with people and meet people.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
You know, actually very interesting that I had a guest actually planned for a couple of days in advance from here, William. And a couple of days ago, he emailed me. He was like, hey, I want to introduce you to Lacey. And we want you to interview the founder and CEO of Web Summit.
That's wild. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, a day before it happened. So it's an honor, truly.
It's big, man. That's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, so the connections go a long way, truly.
Of course, network is everything.
You won the Google Coding contest at 17 and then moved abroad to study.
Yeah.
How did those early successes and experience of studying in a new country shape your passion for technology and entrepreneurship?
Well, that's a good question. So, I was 17 when Google Code-In happened, and that was my first exposure to actually going to San Francisco or outside of my country itself. I was awarded as one of the top open source developers in the world. And we were invited to San Francisco for the award ceremony where we visited Mountain View and Sunnyvale campuses for Google. It was an amazing tour. We also went to Stanford where I saw Stanford University as well. And I was like, okay, I want to study abroad. That's when I decided I want to study abroad. I was already into tech at that time. And right after my high school, COVID hit. So my plans for America kind of shattered during that time. Once COVID kind of settled down, I applied to a few universities in Canada and ended up coming here. As for my, experiences or passions for, shaping these things, I would say this, getting that early exposure with meeting people from, I remember France, Germany, different parts of the world, staying with them for a close 7 to 10 days in the same hotel, doing everything with them, learning about their experiences, talking about their lifestyles, coming from one city. I'd never left my country, right? So talking to those new people, their experiences, I was baffled. I was like, okay, I want to know more people. And that's how I ended up here, and that's how I started talking to people, and it turned my life around.
So at what age did you actually start coding, and how did that experience come about that you were exposed to the San Francisco experience?
I was coding since I was 13 or 14 years old. I was just making very basic websites during my middle schoolish years. Before Code-In, I was just making websites before Code-In, right? I like to design websites and just, go during computer classes. We used to learn Excel and Visual Basic back then, but I was just trying out a few other things. I had a few seniors who were doing the same thing and guiding me through it. I joined the computer club of my school pretty early too. When I got to know about Code-In from a few of my seniors, because we were going to these hackathons, they used to go to hackathons in high school, so they would just take me with them, just participating to a couple of them, and I ended up learning about Code-In and all these different big competitions that people participate in. And I was like, okay, I participated in Code-In on a whim. I wanted to win the Google Pixel. I didn't even know that I would be invited to San Francisco or something. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get that Google Pixel for myself. myself. So I just grinded out like what open source was for 4 or 5 months straight, learned everything that I could about web development and open source development. And yep, those 7 weeks that they gave us to compete like with thousands of developers, those were they were amazing. Like for me at least, I would just wake up, go to school, and during school as well, I would just go to the computer lab between classes, those 15-minute breaks between classes, just do something for code in, come home, do something for code in there as well, just write code, and all night till 5 a.m. I would just be, writing open code for open source, building small modules, learning along the way as well. It was my first exposure to PHP. Well, I don't like PHP as much, but at that time, it was what web development required you to do too. So yeah, that's well, I just was in the groove, I guess. It was fun.
Yeah, yeah. Can I ask, maybe did you get that mindset from your parents? Like, are your parents coders as well in the technology, or?
Well, my dad is an engineer. Well, he isn't a coder, he's a businessman, but he used to write code after engineering as well a bit. Like he was in networking and he was, well, with his business as well, he would help out universities to set up networking and infrastructure for themselves. And he used to write some code too. And well, I guess I got it from there, but yeah, I haven't seen him code in a I have ever, I guess, but but he did make websites though, like not like using no code tools. He's a businessman and he did everything for business too. And like honestly, I grew up watching him working like all day on his business, and I think that's where I got my all day working mindset as well.
How do you go about your day to day? Do you have it in chunks, or sort of you just work till you're tired and you go to bed and rinse and repeat? How does that structure work?
I plan my days out down to the minute. Like, so before I go to bed, I actually have my calendar open. I would even plan out when I'm gonna have my meals. If let's just say I was coming here, right? Like I had to plan out the travel time. So I would put those blocks in as well, like time blocking, right? So I would block out like even minutes of my day the night before, and based on that, when my work is done, then essentially I go to sleep. I don't go to sleep otherwise. That's just how I cannot sleep, and like until unless I have my work done, if that makes sense.
So that results to many nights, sleepless nights potentially.
I used to have many sleepless nights. Yeah, like in high school, after high school as well, with my first agency as well. Yeah, there were many. Well, there still are many sleepless nights, especially when like you're a high performing entrepreneur in some sort of way, right? Or you want to just keep working. It's before going to bed, like those thoughts come to you that what did I do today, right? Like stuff like that, and I just end up not being able to sleep. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, 100%. There's this, I hear this a lot as well. I'm not sure, I'm sure you're familiar with Alex Hormozy.
of course, yeah,
Yeah, he talks about how like you have to set tasks for your day and sort of just complete them, and before completing you cannot go to rest, just like you, just as you mentioned. So
yeah,
it's a methodology of going about
hmm,
task achievement and management.
yeah,
You founded a software agency, WebCube, that you just mentioned,
yeah.
that helped 20 plus startups raise funding. What key lessons did you learn from building products for other founders?
Well, I started as a freelancer when I was like 16, 17 years old, right around Google Code. And like after that, I started making some money to pay for a few things. And from that freelancing, I turned it into an agency when I got like a lot of potential clients. So building all those products for startups, firstly it was a service company, right? People would bring me the problem that they wanted me to build for. I would build out the product for them according to their needs or whatever they needed, as a consultant. And then just provide them the MVP. I would, well, essentially, the investment part would come in after the MVP was built. I would sit in their investor meetings and, like, just explain the technology, right? Like a fractional, well, not technically a fractional CTO, but like I was the one who built the tech out there. So the founders would take me to these technical meetings. So yeah, what I learned from building all those products is building the product really doesn't amount to a lot when it comes to a business. It's just a part of, like, just a fraction of what your business is. Earlier I used to think, there's, like, if you've built an app or like a website, that's all your business needs, right? It's not even close to it. You have to do a shit ton of things. You have to do a lot of things basically to even get that product off the ground. There's hundreds of apps, there's hundreds of developers who can build that app for cheaper as well. But, well, that's what I've learned from all those startups going to raise money, that people don't really care about the product that much when you're raising funds.
So the natural question that arises from that is, what do they care about? If it's not about the product, many computer scientists or like sort of the tech guys, they love just building things and they think that when it's done, people are going to use it and that part's going to come naturally. But that truly is not the case. So from your own opinion, what really matters in a business?
I think what really matters is the problem, and like you're actually solving a problem for a set of people, right? It doesn't have to be for the entire, like, globe. You're solving like a big problem for someone. It can be a minor problem, like giving an example of a simple retail store as well, right? Like for a small neighborhood, like if they are providing just coffee beans to people, that's also a good business. If there's no other coffee bean stores out there and people like your coffee beans, right? You have a better solution for it. It's about solving a specific problem for a few people, and, well, just finding the right people to solve it for as well. It's all, well, there's a lot of things in business that I've learned over the years, that computer scientists get paid a lot of money for just building the products, but it's just a fraction of what's needed. Don't get me wrong, products, well, it's important to have a really good product. Like, it's not like it's not important at all, but it's part of what's needed, right? You have to manage everything. You have to check out sales, what traction you have, how many people you actually are interested in your product, and will people buy it or not, right? The final question will always come down to, will people pay for it? And if no one's willing to pay for it, then you don't have a product, right? Like, you don't have anything to sell. It's not a business, it's just a project.
From those 20 plus startups that you've worked with, what are some trends that you've seen of maybe success stories and failure stories?
Well, there was it was a really big startup. So they hired my agency to build out, well, they were building out a virtual assistant, a virtual trial, like wardrobe sort of thing. It was back when I was like 18 years old. So there wasn't any computer vision AI models out there yet. There wasn't much AI out there either. We were actually building stuff ourselves. We hired a big team, spent 8-10 months on building the product itself, and it took a lot of money and a lot of power to just get a stable version working. And even then, that version wasn't, like, actually deployable, right? It was an app. That app wasn't worth sending out to people and getting it used. Like, it was so laggy. But that client of mine ended up being satisfied with the project. I was like, oh, why is that? Because after a couple months, I heard that he just sold that for like seven figures or something. And yeah, it was, I don't know if it was a success story or a failure story, but from what it seemed like from the client's end, it was a success story. From my end, it seemed like a failure story, but like I didn't get a chunk of it. I should have gotten some piece of it, but like it was project that from our end it was a failure story. We couldn't build out like a really good product that we were hired to do. Even when we pushed deadlines, we took months to build it out, but in the end, the client sold it for millions, and it was success story for the client.
So you got actually a fraction of that seven figure.
Yeah, like minute fraction of that seven figure.
Damn.
Yeah.
I don't know. How did that happen?
I was a 18-year-old, like I was just happy to see the first money coming in.
Right, that is true.
Yeah, but that made me realize I should actually, aim higher. Even if I'm way too young to, build something. If a 40-year-old guy is hiring me to build something out for his business and paying me some money that other people would charge double for it, I should charge the same. Just because I'm younger doesn't mean that, I don't have the skill set.
That is true. Most startups and small businesses actually are mispriced.
Yeah.
And it sort of comes from a confidence standpoint because at the beginning you want to prove to yourself that you can actually deliver what you're promising. But then when you fulfill those promises, then it comes down to doubling your price and, seeing what happens.
Of course, yeah. I mean, valuing your business or a startup, like especially, well, now that I'm building a product-based startup, right? Like it's something that I don't know how to evaluate a business. I didn't know before. I was actually evaluating this one as well, right? When you are running a service company, you are not evaluating the product itself. You're evaluating the number of hours it will spend for you and your team to provide that service. But you don't know how much valuable that product is in the market because you haven't done the market research. You haven't done the competitor analysis and all those things, right?
Yeah. So the question that comes natural to that is if you had to start a business or even with your startup right now, Bean, we'll get into it more in future questions. What are maybe some key steps sequentially that you'd follow to get it to, where you are? Or maybe you followed it as well for this startup.
So what I learned over the years is, well, not that many, but still, well, you have to start with asking the questions and not actually providing the answers directly to people, right? Like basically asking questions about what problems people are facing. Yeah, there's a book that just comes to my mind when I'm talking about customer discovery or just asking questions is like the mom test. I don't know if you've heard of it or not. It's an amazing book. It's actually a very thin book too. It's like a week's read if you, at least for me. Yeah, it explains how the questions you ask, like how you should be portraying those questions, how you shouldn't be providing the answers, how you should be taking negative criticism and not actually, listening to, oh, this is an amazing solution, right? Like instead of that, you need to be listening to, oh, I'm having a specific problem, right? Well, instead of hypotheticals, I can give you examples. So let's just say a meal planning app, right, or like a food app. Well, we want to ask the questions, what is your current meal prep or meal planning situation looks like, and in those we ask the questions around, well, what would you change in it, what problems do you face with it right now, and what kind of how important is this problem for you, your family, or anyone around you, right? Instead of just after the first question throwing them, if you had an app that would solve this, would you do this? And most of the times the person will just say yes out of courtesy. Yeah, sure, if I had an app to solve this, why wouldn't I use it? And afterwards they just ghost you, right? Like it's yeah, but if you understand the problem, you talk to people about it, you don't listen to the good parts but actually understand the bad side of things, and I think that's the first and the most important step that I've seen so far to actually start a business.
Bro, that hit different because I actually earlier this year I started a voice AI agent sort of.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And we've been working on it for months. The front end was done, and the back end we were gonna create a personalized solution for plumbing businesses.
Oh, nice.
And I cold called like 122 plumbers. There was a 35% miss call rate, which highlighted the pain point. But in my set of questionnaire, I actually, where were you then? I would have had a couple of questions. I'll be like, hey, what's your, our missed call is a pain point, and then I would just go down. But then I'll be like, if this solution, right, as you said. So actually, this hits hard because most of them did say yes. And when I went to follow up with them a couple days later or a week later, when the MVP was done and we're ready to launch, most of them did ghost me.
Yeah, that's what happened with us early on too.
Yeah, look at that. So this is actually this is a lesson people should listen to because it does happen.
Yeah, I mean, and that book is the holy grail of customer discovery for me, at least. I was recommended like from one of my mentors as well. Like he is in Halifax. He recommended that book to me, and after because I was asking the wrong questions initially, right? Like basically when I reached out to him for the first time for my that I have this idea I've been building on. So I was asking him a few questions, and he ended up, what you need to do, you need to first read this book. And that's how I realized, okay, I started applying that book over the past few months, and I realized the answers that I got after applying those questions, yeah, that hit different. And I'm not even kidding. Like, because the other person realizes that we are focusing on them, we are not focusing on selling something right off the bat. And they, at the end of at the second call or the third call, they would say, yes, yeah, I'd pay $10, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another strategy, which is that even if you don't have a product, sort of just call and see if they would be willing to pay you to be on the wait list.
Yeah, we did that.
To get ready. Yeah. How did that work out?
Well, so far, wait lists have worked the best for us, right? Like we created a hype around it. I mean, we built the product in 2 weeks, right? It wasn't difficult to build for me and my co-founder, both of us being technical. It wasn't difficult for us to build the product. So the first version, we built it out in like 2 to 3 weeks itself, and we did not like release it out on the stores directly. We opened it up as a waitlist, and even if the waitlist was initially, it was like just to get emails and just basically for people to sign up, and then we would just send them an invite link, which was just a simple app store link, like a test write link, but there wasn't technically a wait list. They could just share it forward as well. Yeah, and as to the question of paying for the wait list, after we had a few hundred people in the wait list, then we actually did tried out a couple paywall strategies around the wait list too. And people think that it's a genuine product if people are paying for a wait list, right? Like if you're talking in hypotheticals, of course, it won't work. But if you're showing your progress over time, people will be willing to pay, even if it's just like $5 for it. They will be willing to pay for it.
Yeah, 100%. And they feel more committed as well, just psychology level.
Yeah, exactly. And especially those early waitlist people, like we pivoted after that, but those early waitlist people who were trying out for the first time, they saw it was kind of buggy, it was kind of messed up. But we were working on the app as if we had like many developers working on it, right? We would just take calls in the middle of the night from someone. That's a funny story. So in the app, in the first version, well, I think it's still there if you just navigate it through it. But like me and my co-founder, we both put our numbers in the app itself, right? Like, you have any feedback, or is there a bug or something? Like, we put like a button or so on every screen, which basically you click on it and you can see an Australian number and a Canadian number. And you can, wherever you are, you can literally just call us. And yeah, we got calls as well. I remember it was around, I think, 10 p.m. or like 11 p.m. Well, I was just taking a nap. I sleep at random times. So I was taking a nap, and I randomly get a call from an unknown number. I didn't have it saved, and I pick it up, and the guy goes, "Oh, I was using your app, and I saw your number on there." I'm like, "Yeah," I just got up. At first I was annoyed. Who's calling me right now? I don't want to pick up a phone call, but and then I actually picked up my notebook, and I spent an hour on the call with him to understand what problems he faced, what solution we could provide. And the very next day we shipped those solutions, and he just loved it. He still comments on my LinkedIn posts, etc.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Bean.
Oh,
Let's just do a segue to that
yeah.
real quick. What are the original stories, and did you do a pivot to this? How did the idea originate? How did you find your co-founder? Just give me the whole gist.
Yeah, that's so Bean. It was last year, I think January, February-ish last year. So my co-founder, Pankrit, he is actually my cousin brother. He's my aunt's son, but we grew up together. We are the same age. He's a year older than me, but like around the same age. We grew up playing football, soccer together. We grew up playing Call of Duty together. Like literally every other day, we would be at each other's house. Basically, we grew up together. We were brothers. We are brothers. Um, and when after COVID settled down, both of us went abroad to study computer science. He went to Australia, Sydney, and I came to Canada. And we still kept in touch. We one day in January, February last year, we were on FaceTime. Like I was in the kitchen, and I just was like what do I cook right now? I mean, like you're international students, you don't know what to cook. It's kind of a pain, right? Like it's the middle of the night. You don't want to spend like $20 to order something out, or like just go out and get something junk. You have some food, you want to eat something, and I'm just call. I'm like, what do you cook at this time, right? Like with some eggs, etc. And he's like, you know what? I've been thinking about something. There isn't a solution for students to get like quick meals from what they have in the fridge. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. Like, and we just started brainstorming on that call, and then we had like a third co-founder as well. We both knew him, an old friend of ours from India, and all three of us, we started getting on calls. We started discussing. Well, the initial idea was what's in your fridge, as in you take a picture of your fridge, get the ingredients, and get a recipe for it. That was our initial picture, and it was when there was ChatGPT 3 and like new DALI had came out, like the initial AI models were coming out, so we were just using them. Um, that was the first version. We quickly scraped together one initial product, and we started talking to people about it. We started sharing it with people, just posting about it on LinkedIn, and we got like a couple hundred people to just sign up from LinkedIn posts, like nothing else. We had like no marketing, we had nothing. We got like 450 to 500 people in the first 2 months to just sign up for the wait list, and we sent them invites to test flight, and we started talking to them after they got the app. We started talking to them, we started booking calls. One of the co-founders, he'll just sit on calls and understand what people are using right now, what they're not using. Then we actually fixed the first version from what's in the fridge to actually what students would use. At that time, it was summer last year, and I was in India. I was visiting my family for a few like functions and like some things. So my cousin, my co-founder, he was in Australia, and he's like, you know what? Why don't you just come here, like for a few weeks? Because we were getting some initial traction from Australia, and he was talking to a few people in UNSW to incubate this. So I'm like, it's gonna be a good opportunity. Like all the money I had, I just spent on a ticket to just Sydney, Australia, and I just took a flight in a couple weeks. Went there for 3 to 4 weeks, and we were working as a startup there. Like literally, we just thought it was a project. We didn't think of it as a startup back then. We just thought it was like a project, and we ended up like in his room. He was living with his friends like in a house, so there was like a storage like room for his that we just put up a couple tables, a couple monitors that he had from like a couple years ago, and we just started working from there. We used to wake up 7 8 a.m. We would make breakfast and like start working on it till like 7 8 p.m, go to the gym, come back, and then keep working. We did that for 3 weeks, and we would go to UNSW as well. Whenever there would be a sunny day, we would just go to UNSW or USID or even TUS, all these universities, and talk to random students. Like there would be random students coming by. We would just stop them. We would just talk to them. Do you meal prep? Do you use any tools? How much do you spend on groceries? And like just random questions we were asking people. And then we built that a proper product in those 3 weeks. And after that, we launched it. We got like a couple thousand downloads. People were using it. It was amazing. we got so confident about like the startup itself, but then we realized no student was gonna pay for this. Like we were just giving it out for free, like, at that time, but we wanted to monetize it in some way, and we realized students won't pay for like a recipe app, right? Like they're already, most students, like even me, I wouldn't pay for a recipe app, right? I would not spend like $10 a month just to get recipes, or like getting meal plans that I can just use ChatGPT or some other hacks around, or I'll just eat McDonald's, like it's fine. It doesn't matter. So we pivoted from there. That was back in December, and we realized all of this user base was kind of gonna go for us, but we realized it's fine. We went towards busy professionals, but we started like talking first. We talked to people. We took the entire customer discovery route. We talked to busy professionals. We reached out to hundreds of people on LinkedIn. We talked to hundreds of people on like normal simple calls. Even while going to university, I would talk to professors, or like anyone who's graduating. I'll just hit them up and I'll be like, you know what, you're a busy professional, I need to talk to you. Do you meal prep? Do you do this, etc.? We found the problem. We built the solution again in a week. It took us a week at that time. We were like quick with building. We literally would build in a week and like ship it out, try out the market, and understand what was working and what was not working. That was the version where we built everything we could. Like we would just flood it with features, right? Like, oh, this is something we heard from a customer discovery call. This is something people might need. We'll just build a feature for it. It was we had calorie tracking, we had meal prepping, we had like pantry management, everything in one app. It was the ultimate app that we thought. We were so proud of it. Then we realized it's too complicated, and our ICP is also not niche down enough. It's a very broad ICP. Busy professionals, what is that? That's not an ICP. That's literally a class of people, right? So that's where some incubators in Nova Scotia came into play, where we joined ShiftKey Labs and Volta for like incubation, and we got mentorship from them. They started explaining us a few things around nailing down your ICP, understanding that exact segment. So from busy professionals, in a month, like 3 to 4 weeks, every week, if I alone had like 50 calls with like professionals or parents, or like some sort of people that fit our ICP. And same with my co-founder, him as well. He had like around 40, 50 calls, like just booked out. Like we were just taking calls, speaking to people online, like literally anything. And that's when we brought down busy professionals to busy working parents with kids in the ages of 3 to 9, right? That's we After talking to hundreds of people, that's where we realized this is the segment we want to build for, because on one, they don't have the time. They are focused about nutrition because they're kids. They want to feed their kids some healthy food. They don't want to order out, right? It's not a compromise situation. They have the time which busy professionals did not. Busy professionals didn't have the time, right? Like they were just graduated. They were in hustling. They were literally working day and night to build a career. Parents like who are settled in, they weren't hustling day and night, if that makes sense, right? So they had the time to cook at home. They had the money to pay for an app. They cared enough for nutrition and their kids and their family. So that's where we stand now. Once we nailed down that ICP in March, in April we built out the product, and now we are launching this, well, after pivoting this month.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah,
That's a great story,
it's a long
actually.
story. Yeah.
Well, I must say, with your pivot to parents, like with kids from 3 to 9, like that makes total
Yeah.
sense. I think that's great. That's an amazing idea. You guys niche down. How was your experience with the incubators per se? Did you have any like? Would you recommend startups to go through them? Are there any positives, negatives? Can you touch on that?
Yep. So ShiftKey, well, it wasn't even an incubator. ShiftKey Labs is not an incubator. It's an entrepreneurship sandbox. So basically, it helps students to get into entrepreneurship. So we got some initial, like a couple months of mentorship from ShiftKey. It was good. It was really good. They don't ask for anything. It's just that whenever we need them, we'll just book a call and ask them to connect us with some lawyer or something. It was good for connections because they had connections in the universities, etc. So definitely that was a plus. They also connected us to Volta, so which is excuse me, the AI incubator for Atlantic Canada. It has Volta has been very helpful for us so far, at least. So we had a few interviews we got in, and they don't ask for anything in return. Like, I think for there are incubators that would ask for, like, some like sort of monetary aspect in return in the future, some sort of ESOPs, or like, a safe note or something, right? Um, but Volta did not ask us for anything. Volta is backed by the government, I think, and they provide us mentorship, like, and resources mostly, right? Like in terms of credits, etc. So, well, for us, it was a no brainer. We didn't have to spend anything. We don't have to give anything from our side, but we are getting what is essentially free for us, and it brings in additional resources for us to use, right? Pros for these incubators were they work with startups all the time, right? So for founders, especially young founders, we are tend to make mistakes, which is a good thing, right? Like, we don't care about, like, messing up or something. We tend to make mistakes, and when it's just that when these mentors, they are talking to us, they are hearing our thoughts, they are hearing our ideas, they just guide us in a direction that, why don't you try this tool out instead of building it entirely, or like, don't build it right now. Some advice we got was use storyboards, storytelling, because we were both technical, as I said. We would just flock to, oh, we understand the problem now, we know what product to build, let's just build it out, let's just build this feature out. I know, right? Like, it's itchy. You want to write the code, you want to, like, design it out, like, just build it in a weekend, like, but the mentors were like, what, why don't you storyboard it first, draw it out, go the right direction, and talk to someone, like a few of your champions or people that are willing to pay for you, and sit with them on a call, walk them through the storyboard of this feature, and understand if they want it or not. So those kind of things, and plus resources, of course. It was all pros for us and no cons, so so far, at least.
So you said you came to Vancouver also to actually get investment as well.
Yes, make the connections there, right? So, Vancouver, well, Halifax is a smaller community as compared to Vancouver or Toronto, right? But it's a really great community, especially for, like, young entrepreneurs, because the government provides a lot of grants and resources, and there are some amazing founders I've met there as well, who tend to stay in Halifax or just travel from Halifax itself. As far as Vancouver is concerned. But investment opportunities, if we are comparing Vancouver, Toronto, and, like, Halifax, like, there's no comparison, like, when it comes to those opportunities for us. So I wanted to make those connections. We will be hoping to raise money by the end of summer. We're not raising right instantly, but we are trying to make those connections right now. So that's why I came to Vancouver to talk to potential investors, talk to people who are interested in, not just investors, right? Just people interested in contributing in any way, people interested in building it out or something, or just working with us. So yeah, that's why I came here.
Well, that's amazing. This is a platform as well. Anybody watching, reach out. There'll be a link for him in the below.
Oh, thank you.
100%. Your profile highlights your work in AI research and cloud architecture. How has your strong technical background influenced the way you approach building a startup?
Well, one thing I would say is many people, when they're building out a startup, they find it difficult to build the tech out, right? Because, well, not if they have a technical background, but there are many people who don't have a technical background. They are looking for technical co-founders or just people to hire to build out the tech. Because I've had, like, experiences with cloud, like, I've been working in cloud for like 4 or 5 years now, like, and like, just designing architectures for startups and businesses with my agency as well. And AI is fascinating, and that's why I got into research into AI with large language models, and even, well, I taught generative AI as well, to Dalhousie University, to some students as workshops, and providing them, like, through which partnering with ShiftKey with that under their program. So as far as my experience goes with building tools or tech, it's it doesn't bother us at all that, oh, there's this AI feature that we need to build. We don't think about, like, oh, we need to hire someone. How will this happen? Like, I already know how to build that. I already know how to accomplish this part technically. So we haven't struggled with tech at all. So that has helped us a lot as a startup. Like, people spend like so much money on building the initial tech or any sort of tech in the future, right? So far we haven't spent a dime in tech. Like we didn't have to, because like we had experience with tech already.
Yeah, it's a true superpower for technically backgrounded founders.
Yeah. I agree.
But then also the question arises is that the learning curve of the business side, which is comes down to sales, marketing, and sort of, getting traction, building a brand, whatever it may be.
Yeah,
That learning curve can be steep as well.
it's so steep, and I'm not even kidding. Like, over the past few months, both me and my co-founder, both of us have just been learning these things. Like, because, well, tech, again, not difficult for us, but sales, marketing, like building the public profile, building like anything outside of tech was a challenge for us. And yeah, learning those things just from videos, it wasn't enough. We needed that experience. We still do. We need that experience, who have had experience in marketing, have had that reach, have had reached, like, thousands of millions of users, or even like having that sales experience, like, how to talk to people, how to ask the right questions, etc. We had to go through a lot of hit and tries to learn those things. And I have mad respect for non-technical people as well now. As a computer scientist, right? You think bachelors of commerce or these like, other people around you, my friends as well, we used to make fun of them. What's the business side of things? Why are you getting a degree or something, right? But those experiences matter. Like, that's what I've seen. Like, tech. Yeah, sure, I can watch a YouTube video on it as well. Like, and like build something out, but understanding sales, learning how to manipulate, not manipulate technically, but getting someone to pay for your product, that is the hardest part so far that we have struggled with, because we didn't have the experience.
So I want to get your opinion with, so much past experiences in AI and workshops and research. Where do you see the world going with the route that we are on currently? And touch on AI and also potentially quantum computing as well.
I mean, the way things are progressing, in my opinion, it's gonna get difficult for all of us to, in any way, as a computer science or like, just a technical person. I love all these progressions, right? I love there's some cool new tech out there today. Some new developer built something and posted on Twitter or X, basically, and we are trying it out, which is shaping the world again. There are some guys who are building cheating tools, etc. It sounds amazing, right? Like, it sounds really good, but where where does education lie then, right? So I'll just give you an example of education, because my research was towards AI, using AI in like education. So and I was a teaching assistant, so I've seen that early first couple of years of computer science, like education in universities, and how AI is shaping that, and it's not looking good so far, at least. um, Many first years, they are just using these AI tools online to do assignments, do all these exams, tests online, like not actually learning anything, right? You learn tech by doing, or any technical skill or any sort of skill, right? You learn by actually building those tools. Um, Giving an example of, so, well, when I was teaching server side scripting, a second year course, most of the students, we were teaching both Node.js and PHP, but most of the students would just submit AI generated code for assignments or any quizzes, etc. And when the final exam came around, they would just fail the class. Right, that means that they didn't learn over the past 4 months at all. Even if they're getting hundreds in those assignments, if you actually did those assignments yourselves, you would have learned, and you would have been able to write server side code, right? Even if you wanted to build an API in some way. But everyone is using these AI tools to learn, well, not just to learn, to cheat or just use them to get away with like minor things, and they're not learning, right? In the future, it will get worse if no one actually brings any middle gap to it, if that makes sense, right? Like if we are just relying on AI tools throughout, we are not learning things. But on the other hand, I use AI tools all the time, right? Like it's part of my routine now. It's very exciting to try these new tech, try this new groundbreaking model with by some of these big companies to just that released yesterday, um, and use them for my like writing code or in any way. But my fundamentals are clear. I know where to find that bug, or I know how to resolve this issue without AI as well. I'm using it to assist myself. So that's why it's still fine for me, at least that's what I believe. But if someone learning for the first time, just vibe coding, it's not a software engineer, right? Like a vibe coder. Yeah, that's the education part. As far as tech comes into play, especially with quantum and like, well, Intel and doing these, IBM doing all these quantum breakthroughs, I think it's gonna be amazing. For the nature, not really, but for tech, it's gonna be groundbreaking. What people are building, especially in healthcare, especially like helping out people in any sort of way. Uh, it's gonna bring a lot of, well, it's gonna help a lot of people over the next few years, right? We didn't anticipate OpenAI to drop a GPT chat like after the GPT paper came out. Like they were pretty quick to actually build out the models, build those inference, etc. And from that, we've just seen an exponential growth in AI models, and in the future, it's gonna be the same. Uh, I just feel there should be regulations, but again, that's just my personal opinion.
I definitely agree.
Yeah.
Sort of where I stand on this, and I've had many extensive talks with previous guests and people working on Amazon, blah blah blah, is that the world is not looking clear as where we're going to be in the years moving forward. But the fact is that if we follow these footsteps that we have, it sort of looks like the AI will be so powerful and have a mind of its own that without regulations, it could potentially wipe us all, which is a grim way to look at it, but it sort of feels reality because they're looking at dollar signs like, the Sam Altman or the heads of those sort of AIs.
Yeah, I mean, I was just reading something on my way here that the US just signed a 600 billion contract with Saudi, right? And like all these AI giants were there, like Sam Altman, Elon Musk, all of them were there as well. And it's again, we don't know what's happening. It's, as you said, it's a black box. It's basically we don't know what's going to happen in the future. I just believe we need to embrace and learn things in a proper way, and well, use these tools when we need to.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good message.
Yeah.
Quick little rapid fire. Cursor or Copilot?
Cursor so far, yeah. It's
Cursor.
game changing. They introduced a student back, I think last week or a couple of weeks ago. It's a full year of free for students.
I just graduated. God damn it.
I mean, what if your alumni email still works, right? Like you gotta.
Oh, I think it does. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta check it out.
Yeah. Right now. Okay, interesting. Okay, Cursor. So I think right now the score line is actually 2-1 in favor of Copilot, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, but Cursor hopefully keeps picking up.
Yeah.
In a recent LinkedIn post, you noted the hardest part of running Bean is learning not to build every feature and focusing on user feedback first. You sort of touched on this with some examples, but can you maybe dive in deeper into why is that so important, and maybe some examples of where you went wrong at the beginning and how you sort of learned from iteration?
Yeah, of course. As I mentioned, there was a phase of us just building features, not thinking twice. We thought this would be a good feature. We would just build it out and send it to people. It just filled up the app with features, right? It got to a point that if we saw a feature in any related app, we would have built it already, right? Like, sharing from Instagram adds recipes, share, like, calorie tracking, taking a picture, like similar to Cal AI, everything. We built everything we could think of. But that brought a lot of confusion for the user, right? Like, our ICP was already broad enough. But the user, like, for us, what we realized was we need to build one feature for a small set of people, and then when we are growing that set of people, then we build more features out, right? Excuse me. So instead of having a 50 features in the app, which is going to essentially confuse the user, confuse us as founders to what to pitch. When we're talking to someone, which feature do we talk about, right? There's like 50 of them, right? Should I pick up pantry management? Should I pick up meal planning? What do I pick up, right? Because I only have someone's attention for like a few seconds, and then they're gone. If I just start rambling out features, no one's gonna listen to me. Coming back to your question, um, where we went wrong was not understanding that people would pay for just solving a problem in the simplest way, right? If a user has to navigate to find their problem, they can navigate on any other platform, right? If we need to focus on one thing, let's just say, even if it wasn't what we went with, if we wanted to focus on pantry management, we are going to double down on pantry management. We are going to make the best pantry management out there. Like, we don't want anyone else to come in and swoop in the market. Like, well, there will be others, of course, but we want our user, our customer, to feel that, yeah, this is the best pantry management app out there. It's not the best holistically best food app out there. It's the best pantry management app out there. Just as one thing, I manage my pantries by taking either like pictures or any sort of ease of convenience, and it just tells me when something is expiring. That's it. And people will pay for that as well, right? Like, I would pay for it if it's actually solving a problem for me. If I just open an app, click two buttons once a week, and it just keeps sending me notifications over a week saying that, oh, tomatoes are going expiring out tomorrow, like, so that I don't have to throw it at the end of the week. So that's a problem out there. If we just build a solution for one thing, then we can think of anything in the future. We just learn from other startups as well, right? Like, I'll give you an example of Cal AI. I don't know if you know about Cal AI, but like, they're doing millions, and they started, like, I think last year or a couple of years ago. All they started with, you open the app, it opens a camera, you take a picture of the food in front of you, and it just gives you the calories for it. That was the first app doing that. Now there's like 50 apps, but that was the first app doing that. They found the problem that people want to know how much calories are there in this dish. People can calculate. People know, let's just say there's potatoes, chicken, and like rice, etc. They can calculate them as well if they were to pick up a notepad, right? Like, anyone can calculate it. But that app solved this problem by saving someone those few seconds or a couple minutes by just taking a picture, getting those things, just one purpose. And they did millions. They just charged, I think, $7 or $6 a month, and people were paying for it, hundreds and thousands of people. And yeah, like, we just learned from these apps. We understood that regardless of how many features we build into it, people end up using just one of them, right? Like, people will either be fascinated by the pantry management, will either like to use meal planning, and if they don't use, let's just say, meal planning aspect of the app, they can just try another app then, right? We can maybe build something out in the future when we are trying to expand, or when we are trying to, learn a few more things. But having that focus of just one problem, one solution, one target audience, that's what helped us the best.
Right now, the problem with AI that I see, because I worked with it as well, I've been working for years, is it still has partial hallucinations,
Yeah.
and it's not 100% accurate. So I'm asking you, do you have sort of API calls to DeepSeek, OpenAI, or sort of Claude, or is your investment for building your own models, so maybe increase the accuracy, or how do you navigate that space?
I just believe building our own models, like with current companies like Google, OpenAI, DeepSeek, all these companies who are actually building these models with like all these resources. They are progressing exponentially, as I mentioned earlier. For us to build our own model, we would have to manage the model as well, which just seems pointless for us at least at this stage. What we are doing is, it's, well, as you said, API calls, we are using these, but it's not just API calls. We have a small fine-tuned model as well that runs for our personalization and recommendations. We have our own tweaks to these embeddings that we are providing. We have our own prompts that we use to generate these plans, or even like small features, even like detecting ingredients in a specific image, right? Like all those small features as well. We are making OpenAI calls, but they're not directly going to like either just OpenAI or Claude. Well, we started recently actually using Google Gemma as well for a few things, just trying it out.
How does it compare?
It's cheaper. Sorry, it's my bad. It's cheaper. It's so far we haven't seen much difference in the recommendation side of things for recipes, right? Like we're just trying around. I mean, I like playing around with these AI models a lot, so just trying new prompts, trying new AI models, whichever comes out. But I have to say, image generation, yeah, like for me, for us at least, especially in the recipes space, we found OpenAI took the best. And it's DALI. And coming back to your question as well, over the past few months that we have been building it out from version 1 to what we have now, not just the recipes, the generation in any way, like image generation or anything, we didn't have to do anything. We just had to upgrade to the new model to actually get like 100 times better results, because these companies are working hard underneath like all these layers to build these models for us, right? Like, so why not just use them? If my purpose is just to build a website, I wouldn't go and write a new engine for myself. I'll use the frameworks out there. I'll use different, like, easier solutions to build this out for my solution, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. um, People actually don't know how much prompt engineering, how important it is.
Yeah. Prompt engineering is, yeah, I mean, we are all doing prompt engineering, right? People, especially non-technical people, they don't understand like the power of prompt engineering. If they just watch one YouTube video on prompt engineering, their results from any of these AI models, Claude or anything, they are gonna massively increase. Like they're gonna be much better for them, because these AI models are trained to understand in a specific way, right? Like all, as you would know, prompt engineering as well, there's a specific, either specific way or a specific set of parameters that all these AI models learn from and actually get better over time, depending on these parameters. If I just understood how to pass in a prompt or how to query a specific model with specific, well, funny things here and there. Obviously, there's gonna be funny aspects to it. Like, there was a meme going around that if I tell ChatGPT that my grandmother is dying or something, it's gonna give me a much better solution to it, which could work because it would definitely increase the parameters for it. But if we just understood how prompt engineering worked, anyone in sales, marketing, or like anyone who isn't even building anything, right? Like even for your classes, they want to learn something. If they would just understand prompt engineering, give them an example of, like, to say, a one shot prompt or something, like, give an example of what I am expecting from you. They would get much better results. Yeah.
Another question that I had is, you've been playing around with models. Would you rank maybe from best to worst in sort of conversational pathway versions, like OpenAI, Claude, Gemini just actually recently came out with 2.0, I believe,
2.5,
2.5.
2.5, and I think I haven't tried the latest one. They released something last week or a couple of days ago or something as well. I'm not sure. I was just reading something on Twitter the other day. But to rank conversational models, like, well, again, it would depend on what I'm using for. So if I'm doing any research or like trying to look for any resources online or something, I usually tend to go to Perplexity to get all my resources in one spec. It's good for conversation as well. I've been playing around with Google's little Gemini as well, and it's really good with conversation so far, right? But at least for me, because, well, OpenAI already has all my data, like, the memory feature that they released a few months ago. It has all my data. Like, I've trained, like, chat, like, I have like projects running in chat GPT based on what I usually use it for. Because I have all that set for me, because I've already, let's just say there's a project for Bean, right? Like, if I have to query that, it already has the context of whatever I need. So I've found that useful. Again, that comes down to what you, instead of just prompt engineering, if you gave them the context of what you're talking about, right? Like, so if it was for my some specific class, let's just say it was for my statistics class, if it already had the context of all the stats material I'm currently studying, and then query it based on that, it's going to give me a solution that is actually going to be good for my exams, right? And not some formula from outside, if that makes sense.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
And actually, for the people that don't know, because I think ChatGPT is still by far the most popular model
Yeah.
that people use. So how do you create projects there? You mentioned it briefly, but if you can maybe expand for viewers.
Yes, so I don't know if it's in the, I've been paying for these AI tools, not just one. I mean, I play around, right? So I just been paying for these for some time now. But so to create a project, basically, it's essentially like running one chat, not creating new chats again and again. They have a new feature of creating a proper project. Like, now they've started it, but from the beginning, I've just been running a few chats, like, in my history. Tend to go back to them. So I would have one chat running for a specific course that I'm studying. I would have one chat running for either my writing skills that I need for either, like, well, I used to use Chat GPT for LinkedIn posts as well. I don't anymore. I have a local model running for it now. But it's there would be one chat that would just say LinkedIn posts as a title, and I would always go to that chat because it already had the context of all my old LinkedIn posts, my writing styles and everything. And then when I would query it, I don't have to provide it the context of what I currently run.
Yeah, I used to do that as well, and I have my own
Yeah.
personal. Um, what differences or similarities have you observed in how startups are built, funded, or supported in the three different countries, India, Canada, and Australia, that you've had experience on?
I mean, India is, well, it's growing like crazy right now, and people have so much, like, I have a few friends in India who are like raising money, and the government is like going crazy on supporting them, right? The startup programs in India are like booming right now. As for Australia, I haven't seen much, like, well, I don't have a lot of experience in raising capital in Australia itself. Of course, my co-founder would know better. But what I've seen is, like, Australia has been like amazing with services, right? Like service companies, service industry, right? It's great at building large scale companies, and it also outsources to a lot of other companies in either India or Philippines. Like, so companies like Telstra have offices in these company countries that are just outsourcing most of their tech talent or something like that. So as far as funding is concerned in Australia, we have seen a lot of interest for our app as well in Australia, but not as compared to Canada or US, right? Like when you're comparing Toronto, as far as I've seen, to like, let's just say Halifax or even in Australia, right? The money talks are on a different level, right? Like everyone is talking in six, seven figures in Toronto or even Vancouver. Like I was talking to a few people yesterday, and everyone is talking in seven figures, eight figures. And when we are in different, like when we were in Australia, we could also be an earlier stage startup, but back then, because it was last year, all the talks were like, mid to lower six figures. Like there wasn't big money talks that we saw. But again, the traction in Australia, by the way, Australia is beautiful. I don't know if you've been to Sydney. It's the most beautiful city I've been to so far. Um, but the university funds that they would provide and UNSW as their, like, they have a program, UNSW Founders, which is, well, when I went there, it was crazy. Like the mentorship and the resources they provide is amazing. And when I went to UBC in like innovation UBC yesterday, like the money talks were on a different level, if that makes sense. I don't think it compares to the universities. I'm not comparing the universities. I'm just comparing the investment side of things for at least student founders or pre-seed or like early stage founders or something like that. And as for India, of course, there's the dollar difference. Uh, that when we are talking, let's just say in eight figures here, like you don't need that much funds to actually build a company, and depending on the company, of course. If you're comparing the same startup raising funds here and then raising funds in India, there would be a difference, right? But you need less money in India as well to run it. But man, like in India to run a business, uh, I had kind of sidetracking this a bit, but I had a mentor in India from IIT Madras. Like he said one thing to me, and I still believe in it. He said, if you go out in India right now, so I'm coming from New Delhi. If I go out in Delhi on the streets and if I shout, there will be like at least 20 or 50 people just, gathered around, right? Like, and if I were to sell it for like 50 cents or a dollar, just a form to any one of those 50 people, and 10 people sign up, like, it's the numbers game is crazy, right? Back home, like people say it's like they can sell expensive products or something like that, but you can sell a cheaper product to like 10x more people there, if that makes sense, right? So again, that was sidetracked. As far as the funding is concerned, uh, I don't see a lot of difference as in the opportunities, because opportunities are there in all three countries. It's going to come down to how much money you need to run that specific business in that specific country, and well, you get that much money as well.
It's yeah, you touched on a good point in India where this century actually they've called it the Indian century, which
Yeah.
is just booming. We're gonna see a new sort of superpower arise from that country, which is fascinating, and how much they're growing, and I'm really excited, truly.
I am too, and like so I went back to India last summer, and I was surprised by the tech there that is booming. Like, so one thing, there's quick commerce in India. Like you can order a PS5 from an app like Zepto or Blinkit, these startups, worth like 10 figures, 9, 10 figures now, by the way. Like you can order a PS5, it will be at your doorstep in like 5 or 10 minutes. And it was 1 a.m. and I'm sitting with my friends, and they can order something in like 5 or 10 minutes. It can be anything, like down to just ice cubes, or like just like soda, or any sort of like chips or anything. Like a packet of chips can be delivered to you within 10 minutes at 1 a.m. sitting in India right now through an app. Like I was surprised, and it's crazy. Like the growth there is wild, not gonna lie.
Wait, that's actually insane.
Yeah.
Why haven't we seen such solution here? Maybe there's not an abundance of resources, or I don't understand. I don't know why.
I mean, I tried to get my head around it, and like quick commerce. Why isn't there quick commerce in Vancouver or Toronto, right? Like, um, the one reason I can think of is, yeah, let's just say if you're ordering something small, like let's just say a couple packs of chips, right? Firstly, there aren't a lot of people ordering that at 1 a.m. as compared to there would be in India. There's a different level of hustle culture, by the way, like day and night now. Like my friends, they're working like day and night on like things like you. My co-founder, he wakes up at 5 a.m. every day and goes to bed around like midnight, like just working tirelessly, and everyone around there is like going all out right now. um, Going back to the point, I think resources, of course. So there's obviously there's gonna be uh, resources available much easier in India. So there is a concept called kirana in India, where you have like local shops like which that provide these like confectionery items to you in every area. It's like you have Tim Hortons here, right? At every corner we have confectionery shops, we have different types of shops just at every corner because of the abundance of resources there. So to deliver something right off the bat, you need that first, and then you need the middleman who is actually delivering it to you, actually working at 1 a.m. to get that thing from place A to B. And you need thousands and hundreds of thousands of people doing that every day, day and night.
Yeah, yeah. Just the sheer amount of population
Exactly.
really, really speaks for itself. But going actually, you touched on the hustle culture, which is interesting. I believe that in Vancouver, we don't have that as much because maybe the population is getting towards the older side, and maybe it's a more expensive city. They're like sort of high standard. I don't know what it is, but how can an area foster sort of that mindset of hustle culture that you've mentioned? And why do you think India is that? Because the population's younger, and maybe there is more government backing for these kinds of things?
So I've seen Toronto also has this hustle culture, like, and then there's like a lot of it. Of course, there's SF as well, and I kind of agree. Vancouver is this kind of like, as compared to Toronto or like New Delhi or SF that I've been to, like the hustle culture is kind of like on the lower side, but there still are people who are working day and night here too. Of course, there's gonna be. I think the main reason, and again, just what I believe is the people around you, as you mentioned, the it's getting expensive here. People our age, young people as well, or either flocking to San Francisco or like just going away, and like the people I'm meeting here are already have made like millions already, and it's as compared to in Toronto right now or in New Delhi, our age people our age are just hustling day and night to get there, if that makes sense. Plus, I think people around you influence you a lot. Yes, government is gonna back you. There's gonna be a lot of things, but let's just say I'm sitting in New Delhi right now, and if all 10 people around me are working not just a 9 to 5, but actually after 9 to 5 they come home and they actually work on something else like from 5 to 9, 5 to 11 or midnight, that's going to inspire me to actually work on it too, right? And then it's a ripple effect that goes around. I've seen that in Halifax as well, like again, a more concentrated city, but in my university at least, there's like there would be group of people in computer science too. There's like a few groups, and there's a group of people who would just work day and night. They are like working day and night. They're not just doing schoolwork. They are working on other things. They are doing 100 other things on the side, and that motivates you to just work with them. Like you just feel you're gonna get left behind in some sort of way. And I think it's the culture around you that motivates you more. Again, it's just what I've seen from traveling to these cities so far.
Yeah, yeah. What challenges you?
Damn, what challenges me? In what way though?
Sort of something that you haven't figured out. It's still like a challenging concept to you, like you're trying, but it's still you haven't fully grasped it.
Interesting. I think it's like I don't plan much ahead. I'm like a day to week planner, like not I wouldn't plan a few years ahead. So my challenges are usually just getting what's in front of me done this week, if that makes sense. And I usually take on projects that I feel I don't know how to do, right? I picked up AI research because I had never done research before in my life, and I knew I would suck at it. I just wanted to learn something. What challenges me on a day-to-day basis is just finding something new to learn. I guess like if I'm working on something, if I start just doing something repetitively, right? Like even if I'm teaching, if I'm not like doing something new for myself, it's just not motivating enough for me to go back to, right? I I got into tech because it seemed interesting. Then when I learned a lot about tech, I got into other aspects as well, like to learn more things, right? Like being a jack of all trades, and not just focusing on tech every single day. Let's just say marketing right now, right? For me, marketing is challenging right now because I don't have any experience in marketing. But with Bean, or for me as a personal brand as well, I want to learn how to market and meet random people, reach random people. Coming to Vancouver was a challenge. I mean, I didn't know a single person in here in the city. I just booked my flight. I booked a random Airbnb, and I was like, okay, let's see how this goes. Randomly texted a couple people on LinkedIn and started meeting people and started registering for random events to show up to. So, like all these things that I've never done before that can bring a learning opportunity, even if it's a good or a bad thing. I think that's finding those things is a challenge for me on a daily basis.
That's beautiful. Just always striving to grow as a person.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, damn. But yeah, what about you? What challenges you though? Like,
Yeah, it's
that's a good question, man. Like,
thanks, bro. I usually ask this to every single guest. There's 3 questions that I ask, and on this one, they struggle. They think about it a lot. For me personally, the biggest thing that challenges me currently is like potentially distractions and procrastination. Like I'd want to like have deep work for 4 or 5 hours at a time. Like I'd love doing that, but sometimes notification bing or like whatever it is, and it just breaks me off, and that's challenging to figure out. Maybe it's the nature of like I'm more of a social person. Like I love interacting with people. I love you know just connecting. So maybe that's what it is. But yeah. But another question that I have for you is, what motivates you in this world? Why are you doing all of this?
actually, people have asked me that question before, and I don't think I don't think I have an answer for it, right? Like I cannot pinpoint a single thing that what motivates me, right? Like something like people tell me, oh, you are doing so many things, you must have a reason to do these things, right? Like obviously there's going to be money that of like there's going to be you're getting rich, you are providing good resources to your family, a better lifestyle to your family, etc. But for me it's more towards just trying new things and figuring things out myself along the way. Like I make so many mistakes, like, but I keep trying, right? Like, I think what motivates me is to pick up a specific thing. I was talking to someone yesterday, like, so there's a group here, Atelier, like basically they're creatives who get together on a weekly basis and just create like time blocks and work and network there. It's pretty cool. Like, you should check it out. Um, and so like someone was crocheting there, and someone told me that he sings opera in Chinese because it's a hobby for him. It's something that he learned because he thought it was difficult, and then he showed me a video. He's a software engineer, and I'm like, okay, that's crazy. Like, uh, basically picking that next thing up that I don't know what I'm gonna do with, and trying to figure it out myself along the way. I think that's what's motivating me so far, right? Basically learning how to reach thousands of users or thousands of people at the moment through either social media or trying to meet people, creating some sort of like a public figure, or well, just a brand for myself, right? That was something that I thought, well, it could be fun. Let's try it out. And I'm just motivated to see it through. That, okay, I'm trying this out. Even if it fails, even if it doesn't work, like, what's the worst that will happen? At least I'll live to tell about it, right? Like, in a few years or something, I'm sitting with my friends or like family, and I'm just sitting with them and I'm telling them stories that, yeah, I did this as well. I think that's what motivating me right now. The lore, building it.
No, 100%. I think people got to embrace failures more, because without failures, there's no success.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I cannot tell like how many times I've like, yeah, on a daily basis there's failures, like there's questions unanswered, there's things you set out to do and it fails miserably on a daily basis. And but it's just what's the worst that will happen? That's my go-to question. Like, okay, I failed at this thing yesterday. Today I can try something new. What's the worst that will happen? I'll fail again. I'll try again tomorrow. I mean, it's fine. Like, out of 100 days, one day is gonna be okay. It hit. That actually worked. Something worked.
Yeah, just not giving up, just never quitting.
Never quitting. Yeah. Well, that's. Well, you just give me. It's a nostalgia thing. My mom used to read me a book, which it was a Power Rangers book, and it was like, never give up was the. I don't know. I just don't know what it
No, maybe that's sort of the building block of your philosophy in the back of your mind, and you just got reminded by it when I said that phrase.
Yeah. I just got that. Yeah, I don't know why, but probably. Yeah. You're right. Probably that's
Very
why.
interesting. And lastly, what do you think is the meaning of life?
That's a deep question. What's the meaning of life? I mean, I think we all define our own like meaning, right? Like what we want to do. For me, well, the biggest thing I've learned over a few years that I've been like separated from my friends and family, living alone, etc., is we are gonna be here like like we are here today, right? Like it's not gonna, we don't know whether we'll be here when we are 60, whether we'll be here tomorrow or something, right? So I want to do things that I think would be good to do today itself. I want to talk to this random person online. I want to randomly, build something that I like. I find a problem. I want to build a solution. I want to help this person in need somehow. And I want to do it today. I want to do it now. It's not like, okay, I'll figure it out when I graduate. I don't think that's how I see life at all. Many people are, and they're not wrong, of course. It works. Like, they would, like, they have a set path of, okay, I'll get a job after graduating, but ultimately I want to get into business or something like that. But if that's what you want to do, I mean, of course, that's just not how I see things. Like, if there's something that I'm planning 15 or 20 years in the future, or like 10 years in the future, I don't think I would appreciate it for myself. I would just want to do it now, like, because that's something I want to do. Something I want to try. And I don't know if I'm going to be here in like 20 years, right? Like, or whether I'll be able to do something like that in 20 years, whether my health or like and my circumstances, what if it hits something and I am not able to build a business? I'm not able to, go on a specific trip that I want to do. But again, it doesn't mean that I throw away like things. I don't work on my career or something. Of course, I want to build a career. I want to see things through in life and not have regrets. Well, what's the point of regrets? That's a very deep question. It's difficult to pinpoint one thing, but that's a good question again, man.
Vansh,
Yeah.
it was amazing speaking to you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much. Yeah, this is so cool. Like, first time on a podcast, and this is just a conversation. Like, I like it.
Of course, bro. I do this every day. I love this too, honestly. And obviously, I wish you the best in all your endeavors.
You too, man. This is amazing what you're doing. Like, crazy stuff. I mean, yeah, dude. I wish you all the best as well. You're another guy I've met who is actually doing what he enjoys, right? Like, this is amazing. I love this. And yeah, we should have you sometime in Halifax, and you should come visit.
I'll come visit, bro, just for you.
Yeah, definitely. Like, don't worry about it. Like, we'll see Halifax together. I haven't explored Halifax myself, man. I've explored more of Vancouver than Halifax at this point. But yeah, that's amazing. Thank you for having me. And yeah, I would say, like, your podcasts are really amazing. These questions, I listen to some podcasts, and like there are many of them are generic questions. These were actually researched and pretty well written down, man. Like, you're doing amazing. All the best. And yeah.
Thanks, bro. It means a lot. It means a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.